Hello, everybody. Hello to our global audience. We are glad to report it is getting bigger and bigger every day. Thank you very much for your support. We are here on a Friday, not a usual day for us, because we have extraordinary news. I mean, that's the only time we decide to come outside Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And if you like what we do, please hit the like and subscribe button. Go to Substack, become a paid member. We will deliver this very high quality intel directly in your mailbox. And to make sense of all of the breaking information, breaking news that we receive almost every day, almost every hour, my dear friend and colleague, Pepe Escobar, whom you love and respect.
Yes.
And I turn over to Pepe Escobar, and he will take it from here until such time that he directs it back to me. Go ahead, Pepe.
Thanks, Mr. Z. In fact, I will hand it back to you immediately because today, probably ahead of anybody else, we can dig much deeper into the Pakistani situation at the moment. Pakistan is in a very uncomfortable position between a rock and a hard place. This is something we could discuss this for hours. And today I was even comparing with what the Indians are saying. Immensely enlightening. But first of all, okay, Mr. Z, please enlighten all of us on how Pakistan is planning strategically to escape from the extremely uncomfortable geopolitical position Islamabad is in now, especially because of the new, we cannot even say tactics because they don't do strategy, they don't do taxes. The latest shenanigans from the Trump administration. Over to you, Mr. Z.
Okay, happy to provide the information that we have current as of an hour ago. Speaking to people who make decisions in Pakistan, everybody knows who those people are. Top of the list is General Asim Munir, and honored and privileged to tell you that information that we receive comes directly from his office or people very close to him or people authorized by him to speak to us. Well, Pakistan, as everybody knows, was, to use a diplomatic term, demoted by Mr. Trump from the top perch because Pakistan was not willing to do Mr. Trump's bidding vis a vis Tehran, vis a vis the leadership in Iran. And for that reason, Mr. Trump was not very happy. Additionally, Mr. Trump knew that Pakistan was providing to Tehran, to Iran, overland routes, six of them altogether, that essentially allowed Iran to receive everything that it wanted to receive from all over the world, coming via China, coming via Pakistan, coming via other routes, and that kept the Iranian economy humming. So a decision was made by the leadership in Iran and Pakistan that the two countries were going to get aligned together, backed by China, very significantly backed by China, that would allow Iran to survive. And the date that I have been given until about an hour ago, Iran is capable of surviving through November in the current environment, and Iran is prepared to do so. So a decision was made by the leadership in Pakistan, leadership in Iran, leadership in China, particularly important because China is the power behind all these decisions. And we have said this several times on this channel. So Pakistan was not willing to do what Mr. Trump wanted Pakistan to do, which is to close off its transit routes. In fact, it did just the opposite. We have reported on this channel that very high level delegations came from Iran, led by several high ranking people, including Trade Minister, including Arakchi, Foreign Minister, including Galibaf, the third most important person in Iran. And they met with all the leadership in Pakistan, the civilian and military. And I can tell you with absolute confirmation, authority, Pakistan is not going to back an inch, go back an inch. Pakistan is not going to do that. a decision has been reached. And Pakistan will keep all of its routes open. There are six altogether. Pakistan will keep the port of Gwadar open. And even though there are risks, everybody knows there are severe risks to Pakistan, but there are also severe risks to Trump and the American administration because outside of Pakistan, they really have no options. I can say that to the entire global audience with absolute confidence. This comes to me directly from the people who make decisions in Pakistan. Pakistan took this decision based upon assurances from China that it was behind it, and assurances made by their own internal calculation that where is Mr. Trump going to go? Qatar does not have the heft Pakistan does, and Iran doesn't want to talk to Qatar about these matters. In fact, Iran told Trump flatly, directly, when it approached by Qatar and Oman, that go back, we want to talk to Pakistan, and we want to go back to the Islamabad MOU. That is the starting point. So the news I would like to relay to everybody is Pakistan is not backing off. Pakistan doesn't really consider the threats by Mr. Bessent to be such that they are going to change their strategic direction. Iran is, as far as I have been informed, capable of surviving the maximum pressure until November. This is their internal calculation. And the US and the Western world is not capable of doing that. So that is a summary of the situation. Pepe, back to you.
Oh, okay, Mr. Z. Thank you. Thank you. There are some absolutely key elements in what you said, which are fascinating in terms of characterizing a mix of desperation by the American government, especially via the ghastly Soros agent, Scott Bessent, and a lot of wishful thinking from the inner circle close to Trump. From the Iranian point of view, what you said about they are able to survive until November is essentially correct. This is what we get from some of the very good Iranian sources and the calculation of the Iranian government. Yes, we can sustain all kinds of pressure until November because a key plank of the new Iranian strategy is to exhaust the Trump administration and to particularly drive the 4-year-old cycle toddler completely nuts because he's
Yes,
blocked everywhere and he has no off ramps left, especially now. And this is a key part of the new configuration. He has just blown up probably for good, the only mediation channel that he had for the past over 2 months to talk to Iran. So
yes,
when you put it very diplomatically that Pakistan was demoted from
yes,
its position that carefully calculated with a lot of work behind, and we reported about that for the past over 2 months, in fact, it's just vanished because of another Narcissus attack out of nowhere. They're not doing what I want them to do, so that's it. But is there anybody, any nation, any leadership, any diplomatic corps that could replace the role of Pakistan in this past 2.5, 3 months? No, it's not going to be Qatar. It's not going to be Oman. It's not going to be Turkey or Egypt or whatever, you know. So once again, this is the Trump administration bombing any diplomatic road towards a possible start, in fact, of a negotiation, because the MOU was the roadmap towards a larger negotiation. It was blown up by Trump himself. Now he's blowing up the actual mediator in this whole process. Even considering that until a few days ago, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, until last week, Trump was actually calling his favorite field marshal, Simonir, practically every day, begging for an off ramp.
Yes,
So this
yes.
proves once again, not only there's no overall strategy, which is something that many of us have been discussing in many podcasts, including here at Transition Protocol. There are tactics that come out of nowhere, one day after another, one week after another, leading usually nowhere. And now we cannot even call it a plan. The only desperation role left for the US, apart from the horror of all horrors, which is also being discussed in the White House and at the National Security Council, which is the nuclear road, the technical nuclear road, which is now being, it's a horror story for humanity, in fact. It's being normalized already. So these people who actually normalize the genocide are on the road to normalize the use of tactical nuclear weapons, as long as it's only by the empire. Nobody else has the right. Only, of course, the unilateral empire. So the actual possible road for them, the only one left, is this maximum pressure, total economic and financial war against Iran, because in their minds, and I wrote a column about that this week, and the title was that the Trump administration cannot turn Iran into an island. In their minds, they think that they can actually turn Iran into an island. First of all, they don't know anything about history. Second, they don't know anything about geography. They cannot even read a map. They don't even they cannot even read where Iran is at the crossroads of Eurasia. So, from the coming back to what your summary of the situation in Pakistan now. So Pakistan has been demoted diplomatically as the mediator.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
love the way you put it because it's diplomatic, but it's very strong at the same time. Um, Iran can survive until November. This is something that we heard from different Iranian sources at different levels and tones, because it's exactly their plan. Even if we don't do anything until November, we have several mechanisms that will accelerate the desperation in the Trump circles. But this is very, very important in terms of practical terms of the core of the overland corridors, that the trade and commerce between Iran and Pakistan, Pakistan, China, and China back to Iran via Pakistan. This won't be affected. The Chinese are behind both Pakistan and Iran. Number one, very, very important. Number two, Chinese companies who are exporting to Iran in coordination with Beijing, they will find that if they already have it, but they even they can accelerate different mechanisms that completely bypass American vigilance and most of all the US dollar. First of all, because all these transactions, they already bypass the US dollar. Number three, if there are extra sanctions or secondary sanctions on Chinese companies, once again, the directive from Beijing, ignore them. You are a Chinese company, so you obey Chinese law. You don't obey foreign laws. And we sue them in whichever jurisdiction it is. So we're going to turn it back against the Americans. So there are several economic problems for Iran in the next, let's say, 3 months. There's no question about that. But they have the Russia-Iran, let's say, express. We can call it the Caspian Express between Russia and Iran. The Americans have no way to interfere in trade and commerce in that, unless they keep throwing NATO drones over Russian or Iranian ships in the Caspian Sea. And then the proverbial thing you're thinking about is going to hit the fan, big, big time. They don't have the guts. They don't have the guts to do that against both at the same time, against Iran and Russia, using Ukraine, whatever. Because the Ukrainians last time they got the message from Iran, we are coming after you. The next day, Ukraine apologized for the drone that they launched against an Iranian vessel in the Caspian. So Iran has the Caspian. Iran has the China-Iran railway going through Turkmenistan and Central Asia. What the Americans are going to do? Bomb the railway again. They will be bombing China. China built and paid for this railway. This is a Belt and Road project, New Silk Roads. The last thing before Xi Jinping visits uh, Washington soon is something like that. So this is not going to happen. So the relationship with the other Central Asian partners, between Iran and the other Central Asians, will continue. And this is something that is also part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. All of them, most of them, apart from Turkmenistan, they are Shanghai Cooperation Organization members. Then there's the BRICS. I would say basically the bilateral tables. BRICS is next month in Delhi. It's in a little over 3 weeks from now. The summit itself is going to be a disaster, but the bilaterals are going to be very important. And guess who's going to be there for the bilaterals? Russia, China, and Iran. Very, very important, these bilaterals. Plus two BRICS plus partners from Central Asia, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. So they will be discussing trade and commerce between all of them. Very, very important. So this is what matter at BRICS next month, the bilaterals, not the actual summit, especially because it's in India. And of course, okay, so we come back. So what is the theoretical weak node where the Americans can apply a lot of pressure in terms of strangling the Iranian economy? Pakistan. How will they do it? And this is my next question to you, Mr. Z. How do you see the American, what kind of stratagems the Americans can come up with to go after the China, Pakistani, Iran trade and commerce without completely alienating Pakistan? And then, of course, China will think, perfect. Pakistan won't even have relations with the US anymore, only with us and with our partners in Eurasia. There is a serious problem with Pakistan, which is financial independence. It's those horrible $10 billion from the IMF that Pakistan needs for its economy. If we lived in a solid and sensible world, two things would have happened already. Number one, Pakistan would have been a BRICS member. And number two, Pakistan would have been a new development bank, BRICS bank member. So these 10 billion, they could get from the NDB and not from the IMF. And this would be perfect in terms of the NDB being a development bank for the global south. Unfortunately, we're not there. Unfortunately, first you need to turn the NDB upside down, eliminate, in fact, reconfigure the statutes of the bank, which are linked to the US dollar, which is completely absurd. You have a development bank for the global south transacting with the dollar of the currency of the enemy. That's a long story. So Pakistan is not on BRICS, not on NDB. So that's why they need to go to the IMF. And it's not only Pakistan, it's still scores of nations in the global south which are still prisoners of the Bretton Woods systems and expecting that the BRICS finally get their act together to find a way to bring all these nations towards the BRICS and the BRICS plus sphere. So my question is still there, Mr. Z. What are the weapons that Pakistan has to escape from its condition at the moment, which is essentially between a rock and a hard place? They cannot antagonize the Americans directly. but they can
I
find
can.
ways, and they can find ways to make Ghastly, Bessent and company uh, believe that Pakistan is following their diktats, while at the same time keeping their business with China and with Iran, the three of them.
Well, I can report this maybe the first time to a global audience because I don't believe this has been reported yet. And this comes directly from the Pakistani Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar, very, very high up in the Pakistani civilian leadership, comes also directly from the office of Asim Munir, in fact, from him. Uh, uh, in consultations with the Chinese, especially Wang Yi, the foreign minister, a decision was reached that if push came to shove, China would back Pakistan in Pakistan walking away from the $10 billion stranglehold by the United States. This has not been reported anywhere. I was privileged with this information only about 2 hours ago. Comes directly from Ishaq Dar, who used to be a finance minister prior to becoming a deputy prime minister, and who has actually physically met with Wang Yi in these discussions. So
Mhm.
they were between a rock and a hard place, and they decided that when push came to shove, they are going to go by China, by what China wants. China wants Pakistan to stand firm. Pakistan wants China to extend its overland corridors and the port of Gwadar to Iran. And I say this to you with absolute certainty, as much certainty as I can bring to this conversation. Pakistan, if push came to shove, will tell the United States get lost and do what China wants Pakistan to do, which is to continue to support Iran through the way that it is already doing, and in fact is going to do even more because under pressure from the United States, uh, UAE has done something very stupid, which is to close off its trade with Iran. Pakistan is going to
Mhm.
be the beneficiary of that. I can say this to you with, again, absolute certainty that that decision has been made and that decision is going to be unveiled in the coming days. I have one other piece of news that I have not discussed with you earlier, Pepe, but I intended to do that. I received some very tantalizing additional information about the contact between Noshirvan, the president of Kurdistan, and
Yeah.
General Vahidi. Part of the conversation was a hint by Noshirvan that well, the United States is going to support a military takeover, a martial law. We will immediately recognize the government, and you will be the person who will be in charge of the relationship, and things will go back in a really good way. Shocking.
Martial law where? Wait, sorry. Martial law where?
If General Vahidi was going to accept the overture
Ah, if he
from
decided to be a Trojan horse, he would be, of course, he would be the new leader.
Yes, 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 yes. I just received this information about 2 hours ago, so that's why I did not mention it to you. But it's an one additional piece of information that now comes to me, and I'm passing it on to you, and passing it on to the rest of the world. I mean, obviously, all of this was known to my contact, office of Asim Munir, was known to the supreme leader, through whom we get this information, and uh, and it just adds the level. It gives us an insight into the level of desperation. This is desperation by Trump, uh, flailing, throwing his arms everywhere. This was hinted by Noshiravan, causing Vahidi to become outraged and shutting down the conversation and asking him never ever to call him again with anything even similar to this. So they have tried bribery. They have tried
Okay.
flattery with Asim Munir. They have tried military actions, and now they're trying the economic actions. Nothing is going to work. Absolutely nothing is going to work.
Okay, very important. The decision of the UAE to theoretically cut off all trade, commerce, and financial ties with Iran, which is practically impossible because even if they do it officially, unofficially and on the black market, this will continue like there's no tomorrow. The ties between Ira- Iranian leadership, Iranian individuals, Iranian companies, people of the Iranian diaspora, Iranian businessmen, and UAE back and forth is wow, it's all
Good.
possible numbers. I've been hearing numbers since the early 2000s. And I heard all sorts of numbers from a few tens of billions of dollars to lots of tens of billions
Yes,
of dollars,
yes,
even hundreds of billions of dollars. And Iranian investment in the UAE, different sectors of the EU. They cannot cancel that. So the UAE may be playing a double game instead of no, in fact, placating the Americas, which they have to, and at the same time, a business as usual between a lot of people in the UAE everywhere, especially Dubai and Tehran. Nothing's going to change. But in terms of the amount of business that UAE may lose vis-a-vis Iran, you just mentioned that these businesses could transfer to Pakistan. Is that it?
yes,
They
yes,
could
yes, yes.
migrate to Pakistan,
I,
leave the
I can say
UAE,
this with
go to
certainty.
Pakistan. Right. Go ahead, please.
I can say this with absolute certainty because I heard this from people who have provided information that has always been confirmed in subsequent days that arrangements are already in place for this to happen. A lot of that trade is going to be routed via Pakistan. Pakistan has made a decision. It is going to stand by China. It's going to stand by Iran. And if that pisses off Mr. Trump, Pakistan doesn't really care.
Yeah, okay, just to put it on a much bigger picture, which is the Eurasia chessboard. From the Chinese point of view, this alignment between Beijing, Islamabad, and Tehran is sacrosanct, if we can use a
Yes,
Western Christian definition. You can it's
absolutely,
untouchable. It's
absolutely
untouchable.
untouchable.
It's
Cannot be it touched at all.
So whatever happens, this will continue because these are two strategic partners of China. So China
Yes,
cares as much about Pakistan as Iran because they are part of the New Silk Roads, Belt and Road Initiative. In the case of Iran, it's the 25-year, $400 billion energy infrastructure pact. Investments in China, from China everywhere in Iran, as much as Chinese investments in Pakistan. The role of Gwadar now, which is very important not only for Pakistan and for Iran, but also for China. And the fact that Gwadar is a key node of the China Pakistan economic corridor. So we all know this will be, from now on, even more solidified than before. And the Chinese, the Pakistanis, and the Iranians can find extra mechanisms to make it foolproof in terms of American intervention. There is, of course, an extra element which is going to become even more dangerous from now on, which is terrorism. So we can
yes,
expect for sure American coordinated terrorism in both Baluchistans.
correct.
So this CIA, MI6, and Mossad even more active, especially in Pakistani Balochistan, with the back and forth of all those units or all those mini group, fringe groups, whatever. Then in Sistan, Balochistan in Iran, because it's very well policed and the security is much better over there. So this is their usual. I wouldn't say even plan B or plan C. It's their usual modus operandi. The Americans use terrorism everywhere, all across the global south. So this will intensify in terms of terrorism, trying to destabilize Balochistan in Pakistan. But that's it. Apart from that, They cannot interfere in the way the mechanism works in terms of trade and commerce between these three players in Eurasia. So once again is another chapter, even more radicalized, of the war of the US against Eurasia and Eurasia integration. China, Pakistan, and Iran working together is a key example of closer Eurasia integration. In a Shanghai Cooperation Organization strategic point of view, the three are members, and the three will get even more integrated. Even if in the BRICS case, Pakistan is not a BRICS member, it's almost as if it was, because it's treated as such by the Chinese. So, once again, it's the US war against mechanisms and multilateral organizations that are organizing the new face of Eurasia away from the Americans. And this only, there will be many other examples. For instance, fascinating discussions already starting in terms of who wants to become part of that famous Sunni NATO pact. There are already two candidates. We heard from the foreign ministry in Damascus that Syria is interested. Why? Because of Turkey. And we are hearing that Bangladesh is also interesting to become part of the Mecca Pact. So anything can happen with the Mecca Pact, from literally nothing to it becoming a sort of once again a mini Sunni majority organization that provides some sort of a collective security against the usual suspects. Or it could be anything in between as well. So the way the chessboard moves, literally day by day, it is mind-boggling. And every new element that we have complicates the larger picture even more. The only thing that seems to be a constant, in fact, is the degree of lost in the wilderness, to put it mildly, of the Trump administration. Tactically, strategically, militarily, economically, financially, and of course, with all the deadlines approaching, and of course, with one deadline that's in the mind of the Iranian leadership, the midterms. They will do anything, whatever it takes, for Trump to lose the midterms. And they are on their way.
Amen to everything that you just said. I should point out to all of our audiences that by virtue of context that we have, we are privileged to know what is going on in the Majlis. Majlis is in session in Iran. Majlis is the parliament,
Yes,
and they have been meeting for long, long hours every day, and they have been debating all these issues. And it is remarkable, I mean, absolutely remarkable, that they are solidly behind the leadership of Iran,
of course.
solidly behind the supreme leader, solidly behind the IRGC leadership, Mohsen Rezai, solidly behind everything that is going on. So Iran is not going to crack. Pakistan is not going to crack. We can say this confidently. We can say this with absolute certainty. We can say this with great authority coming to us from people who are making decisions. And China, of course, is not going to crack. China is standing like a brick wall, like a solid brick wall behind what is going on in Pakistan and Iran. So if Mr. Trump is under any illusion that is going to push Pakistan to doing his bidding in any way, closing off its overland routes, closing off its port, closing off the route, the east-west corridor, not going to happen, Pepe. Not going to happen.
No,
This
but
is going to transformational change.
okay, but there's still a very important practical question. As you analyze it, do you see any possibility that these $10 billion that Pakistan badly needs and would come from the IMF, if everything collapses, the Bank of China would step in, and this would
I,
be like a Chinese loan, a long term?
I have been told directly from people who make decisions. I told you Ishaq Dar, Deputy Prime Minister. I'm naming a name, which is, I mean, based on authority and permission. Deputy Prime Minister, foreign, previously Finance Minister for a long time, met with Wang Yi. Push comes to shove. If they have to make a choice, that is the choice they're going to make, and China will back it up. And it is in the interest of China because then the appendage to the United States will be cut forever and ever and ever. And Pakistan
No,
will
it's
be very happy
no,
with that.
it's. I'm sorry, Mr. Z. It's more complicated than that, and the Americans won't let it go. So it's going to be very tough for Pakistan. So, but okay. So I prefer to we should treat that when it happens. But if that happens, it's going to be extremely tough for Pakistan because then you're going to have the rest of the empire against you, which is something that nobody wants.
Based on my information, Pakistan is willing to take that step if push comes to shove. I mean,
Okay, but that
it's a big
let's wait.
decision.
Yeah, it is. But let's wait, especially now that we are dealing with a cornered empire, uh,
Yes.
ready to let it loose everywhere. We should never forget, none of us. This is uh, a mafioso setup that it's in the process of discussing the normalization of the use of technical nuclear weapons. This is the most important overarching question anywhere. So the level of desperation has reached this particular nuclear level. That's why anything is, and that's why decisions involving the main players in Eurasia, backed by China and Russia or not. And this also includes the way Russia is looking at the US. It changed completely for the past few weeks, very few weeks. Russia now is finally they understood that all that elaborate kabuki of the spirit of anchorage and all that, that was absolute nonsense. And they are perfectly aware that the American strategy is to keep this war against Russia going on forever. Same thing with the Iranian leadership. They know that. And they know that the only way to push back is to go on the offensive, which is something that they are carefully studying. And it might happen within the next few weeks, very, very few weeks, starting even next month. If they are provoked, they will go on the offensive. They prefer that everything around the Trump mafioso system collapses under its own horrible weight, which is something that could happen from now to November. But if it's not the case, if there is an extra provocation, this time Iran will go on the offensive. The Russians have reached more or less the same conclusion. If the Europeans provoke the way they have been provoking lately, the Russians will go on the offensive. The last thing anyone in the world wants is when the Russians go on the offensive. And this is something that those stupid Europeans still have not understood. So that's how the chessboard is moving all the time, you know. And the Chinese in the back, they know it. And it's one of the reasons why they are offering full support to both Iran and Pakistan. Because they know that especially now that they are cornered, they are capable of unleashing anything against anybody without with no notice whatsoever, out of the blue, literally. But once again, Iran is ready for it. Pakistan better be ready for it. And the Chinese right behind, they are ready for it.
Well, let me offer one other piece of information that I think is valuable in this context, that is not fully understood by many analysts. In fact, most analysts don't understand it. See, Pakistan is the only route by which U.S. Trump can have some dialogue with Tehran, because that is what Tehran wants. Tehran wants Pakistan to be the in between, the mediator. Uh, since the war started, there is no insight by the West, by Trump, into where the 400 kilograms of enriched uranium has gone. Zero insight. Very important for everybody, including Trump. They have no clue. They have
Hmm.
absolutely no clue. And this is very dangerous for the world, very dangerous for Trump, because Trump is not the only one who's capable of making a nuclear bomb. Trump is not the only one who's capable of detonating a nuclear bomb. Iran is not frightened by Trump's talks of using
Stuff,
nuclear
yeah.
devices. They're not phased by that at all. They say, bring it on. I mean, obviously they don't welcome it, but they're not going to allow that to push them over into a decision, elsewhere. And we have been reporting on this channel repeatedly that they are very close, in fact, ready to detonate a nuclear device pending the decision by Ayatollah Mushtaba Khamenei. And he has not made that decision yet. But if he makes that decision, they're capable of doing that. And Pakistan is the only route for an insight into where that uranium exists, what is going on with it. So Trump is not the only one holding the cards. Pakistan has a few cards. I can repeat this again and again. Pakistan is not going to budge. Pakistan is not going to be pushed over.
Thank you, Mr. Z. I think we can wrap it up. You want to wrap it up? Okay.
No, no, you go ahead and wrap it up.
No. Please wrap it up because this is a special on a Friday. We'll be back next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So okay, if we have some sort of volcano eruption this weekend, probably we're gonna have another special.
Well, thank you
Please.
very much to our global audience. We appreciate your support. We have grown beyond our imagination, and we love your support. We love your comments. We love the relationship we have built, the community with people like Pepe Escobar, Larry Johnson, and others bring you valuable information. And we have access to some information that nobody else has, which is the reason why we came into existence. So if you like what we do, please hit the like and subscribe button. Go to Substack, become a paid member. We will deliver this inside your mailbox, and that support is deeply appreciated. So until Monday, we say goodbye. Pepe, please go ahead, say goodbye.
Cheers.
Final word.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks. Cheers, everybody. And we are all under the volcano.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.